it was smoking quite a bit to the point where we actually had someone come out and say, hey, it's starting to smell inside my house. You know what I mean? Like,
oh no.
can you guys shut it down?
Yeah.
So, I apologized, whatnot, and we shut the machine down.
You didn't play stupid like
Smoking. I'll tell you right
What?
now, there was no playing stupid. There was no playing stupid. There was no hiding.
barbecue. We're barbecuing.
No hiding from that one. So we had to shut it down, and at that moment it was kind of embarrassing and a bit disappointing because
All right, welcome to the Masons Conversations. We have Justin Cabral here from Bremner Construction, easily reached at Instagram is at Bremner Construction, correct?
Yep.
Website, www.bremnerconstructioninc.com. Phone number to reach Justin at is 226-339-7848. Welcome, Justin, to the studio. Episode 4. This is all you, man. Bremner Construction.
Thanks for having us, man. Pretty excited.
Excellent. So, for the viewers, for whoever doesn't know, this is my brother, Justin, and I have 3 other brothers as well. Sorry. He's amongst 4 brothers, and we're all a part of the trades. We all have our niche. I'm within the masonry sector. Justin is involved in excavation, landscaping, hardscape, and then I have 2 other brothers who one is an electrician and framer, and the other is in the HVAC field. But yeah, welcome. Good to have you here. This is going to be a nice, easy flowing podcast because, again, we have that relationship established.
Just click.
Awesome. We're going to start with a super powerful question. What does blue collar mean to you?
You know what? It means strength. I think you got to be, strong-willed. Get up early, put in those hours.
The grind.
Yeah, and it's not just a 9 to 5 type of job. You know what I mean? It's when the job starts till whenever you get it done, right? So it takes strong-minded person to be able to do something like that, and then the physical part of it as well. It's even when you got all your tickets and you're up there. You know what I mean? Just from your trade, for example, bricklayers. Even when you get onto the wall, it's still a physically demanding job.
Of course.
Picking up the block, the brick, laying it down.
Of course.
From our industry, with the excavation and whatnot, guys are in and out of the machines. We got guys that are just constantly, picking up stone, laying down stone, whether if they've been in it for 5 years, 15 years, So it to me, it's strength and ties into me with blue collar, right? So
okay, yeah, man. No, and for me too. Obviously, I'm very passionate about this community that we are part of, because to me, it brings out that true masculine side of us, because it allows us not to be so soft. It allows us to deal with the rough and tough, the grit, the grind. Getting out in the trenches and dealing with all the elements and everything. And I know you deal with that too, because what you do is an outside trade, just like what we do. You're not inside houses working around furnaces or fireplaces or hardwood floor tile or things like that. Like we're outside experiencing the elements, winter, summer, fall, spring, it doesn't matter. And, some of those days are shit, especially winter. Like right now, how are you managing? Obviously, we've been lucky. The weather's been fucking phenomenal, but how have you been managing with this winter? Obviously, I'm sure it's pretty rewarding with the weather that we've been receiving.
So we have different, divisions within the company. So on our landscape side of things, our hardscape side, it's been great. Like I can't complain. We're trying to wrap up an interlock project this week, and it's February. Like We haven't,
Fucking crazy, man.
it's nuts. It's nuts. Like being able to do that throughout the winter, it's been great. So
is the season gonna like pick up now? Like because I noticed for us, we're doing a retirement home in Tavistock. They weren't supposed to dig these trenches, these holes for the footings that these huge steel columns are going on until spring. But then project manager decides to say, hey, let's take advantage of the weather. Let's dig that hole. Let's get those forms poured. Let's pour it, backfill, away we go. So I know people are doing shit like that.
Yes,
are you going to start grass cutting soon?
You know what? Yes and no. Like we have some customers where we feel they're hesitant. You know what I mean? Because once we start breaking ground, that's it. You're committed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So the way things have been going, like, yeah, the weather has been great temperature wise, but we've got that rain and that snow. So on our side of things, if we get a nice blast of snow, even one day you get 10, 15 centimeters and it starts to warm up, well, the ground's never going to freeze and it's just going to always be wet and muddy. Residential side of things, the customers aren't a fan of it because now you're just tracking mud everywhere.
A mess.
And it's just, and then it slows our production down too, right? So it's a fine line that we play with. And, recently what we've been doing is if we commit, we bring out a ton of tarps.
That's it.
Cover up everything with tarps. We'll cover our interlock stone up. We'll cover, the excavation area up. We'll cover everything up just to try to keep the moisture off the project. And that's just on the landscape side. We do fill management as well, with the import and export of fill. So if someone's got a big excavation project, for example, downtown Toronto, those high rises that they dig these massive holes for, you can't just bale that dirt off to the side because they literally excavate from curb to curb all the way around. That whole block is getting dug up. And they need somewhere to take it. So we provide a service where we're in touch with, farmers, landowners that'll have low-lying areas or are looking to build a pad to put a building on or whatnot. We'll have a site available for that excavator to bring material to. And with a winter like this, it's tough on that side because dump trucks aren't designed to drive through the mud.
I was going to say, those triaxles, they'll probably be sinking.
Yeah.
Your dozer's not going to be grading as we pulling trucks out.
Hey, we got our dozer stuck pretty good the other day. That's to the crazy. Point where we thought we were going to have to call in someone to yank it out, right? So, it's the temps for this winter. I can't complain because I hate the cold. I always say it. I'm the biggest bitch when it comes to the cold.
Yeah, well, we've been lucky.
It drops to 10 degrees, I'm looking like the Michelin man walking around out on site, right? So, like, I don't like the cold, so I not going to complain in that sense. For us, I just wish on the, for the landscape side, I wish like it would just stay dry. And then on the fill side, for me, it's either it stays dry or the ground freezes right up.
That's true.
Right? So, but other than that, man, we work when we can.
That's right.
Right? Just take it while we can.
So you guys like usually your average typical winter, like when do you start to think about kicking it back into high gear? Like end of April? Like
we're looking mid-March this year.
Oh, that's sooner than I thought.
Yeah, we're looking mid-March. And because we're going based off what we're seeing now. You know what I mean?
You have to take those predictions.
Right.
And like your temperature averages can come into play as to how soon you can start. Because that's even like asphalt, those big concrete companies, like I'm sure they have some sort of average they have to go with on the winter temperatures and where things are lining up so that then they could say, okay, mid-March, no, it's been pretty damn cold. We're going to wait till end of March, like beginning of April. But obviously because we've had such a mild winter, like, fuck, we might as well say mid-March at this point.
100%. So what I try to do is I'll try to plan jobs accordingly. For example, we have a project coming up where we got to build 62 decks for a developer.
Oh, wow.
And what we did is we went in and we put in all the deck footings for the whole project before, winter came.
Oh, nice.
And then that way we're able to, if winter.
So your deck footings, essentially all your sono tubes,
So
poured
sono tubes, concrete,
Oh,
everything's
okay.
in 6 inches above finished grade, right?
Nice.
And we have the saddles in there.
Okay.
So
Hopefully
that
there's
way
a
in
lot
case-
of room to maneuver back there during construction. I know some crazy guys behind the telehandler wheel.
You know
They'll
what?
be running over all those saddles.
we don't
tires
go-
popping everywhere.
We don't go in until that's all done.
Yeah.
And-
we've worked around it. Like, sorry to cut you off, but we've set up scaffold around all that shit. Sono tubes and the saddles and everything. Because I know a lot of builders who do that prep before the spring
100%,
comes. Yeah.
100%. But I think
We
how
do
I look
bitch
at
and
it as,
complain, though.
so I look at it as you remember, I started off in masonry.
Yeah,
My first job out of high school was
that's right.
Working for the same guy you started with.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so being able to see, and I moved around as well. So I started off in masonry, then I moved to, asphalt, dabbled in a little bit of framing because I wasn't sure what I wanted to do when I came out of high school. But being able to do those types of jobs and, allowed me to now at this point is when I get to a job site and try to set up, the deck footings, or if I'm grading or fine grading or rough grading, doing foundation dig, whatever, it allows me to also think of the other trades that are going to be
That's
around.
right.
Because, if I put in all my deck footings, then the masons get there and they're destroying and hitting my, my footings or my saddles, and they're bending it. Well, guess it's costing me money now to go redo everything. It's pissing you off because it's in the way.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So it just makes life easier to try to work with everyone. So I always tell the developers, I won't go in and put in any deck footings or do any, fine grading work until all the exterior trades are out.
Yeah, especially the masons.
Right? Exterior trades are out. Yeah, you guys are the worst. Pain in the butt, man. Always have to have everything nice and clean
That's
and
right.
leveled for you guys in your scaffold.
So we're gonna talk about a quick story here where TMC Masonry was doing a project out in Guelph. Eddie, you're familiar with this project and what happened. We had an operator destroy a retaining wall with my telehandler. And this lovely gentleman right here decided to save the day and save my ass technically and come out there, and he repaired the wall. We were lucky to have Justin readily available, thank God, because the builder was not happy with the way that wall looked. So you remember that.
Oh man, I don't know how you guys got yourself out of that situation with
Dude, I don't even wanna,
with your
like,
machine, because
yeah.
seeing the height and knowing how it was sitting on that wall and the
Yeah,
damage done, that was crazy. Especially those stones, because those stones are, they're 12 inches wide, 8 inches thick, and 3 feet long.
Yeah.
So that's a heavy stone.
No, I know.
Right?
I'm pretty sure we crushed like at least 3 or 4 maybe.
I think 4 of them were snapped.
Yeah.
That had to be thrown out, so we had to replace 4 and
Yeah.
a cap.
Well, my axle did all that damage. So
It was crazy, man.
it was nuts. That was a very special day for everybody on that site. And
It's, you know what though? It's in construction sites, it's actually surprisingly, it happens quite a bit
Of
when
course.
it comes to,
especially, you seen how tight that was back there.
Yeah.
And then you put scaffold to make it even more tight for, a full-size telehandler to operate back there, maneuver and load the scaffold with brick and mortar and all that.
100%.
And plus, he was a green operator that decided to back up a little bit too
So
far.
what'd you learn?
Yeah, I know. I learned a lot that day. But regardless, yeah, that was super beneficial to obviously have my brother, who is in the landscape field of the construction industry, to be able to come out and fix that right away. But long story short, dude, job sites are tight. They're getting tighter. They're fucking sandwiching houses on top of each other. So
Oh man, you should see
I'm sure
my
you
new
have a lot
toy.
of repairs to do.
You should see the new toy I got for that.
What is it? What'd you get?
We picked up, oh my gosh, when did I pick it up? I think
Not
it was
the truck.
November.
The truck?
No. So I picked up, it's called a Bobcat E10. It's an excavator.
Oh, sick. Like
So
a mini.
It's a mini,
Sick.
right? So like you just said it.
So could you get it
Everything's-
in this studio?
I could drive it through your front door.
That's amazing.
right through your front door.
That's all. We'll bring it in here next show. That's our next guest.
There you go, man. Set it all up in here. I'll sit
Shout
on
out to
it.
Bobcat.
Sit on there with a little, calling
be
from
dope.
the Tri-Cities.
There we
Great
go.
guy. But yeah, because like they're cramming more houses into all these subdivisions. They're trying to get the most money per square foot on the development. You know what I mean? So I can just imagine with you guys and trying to set up your scaffold in between the houses and, trying to make that work out on the residential side of things. Trying to get your machines maneuvered around, the job site and whatnot. It is a pain in the butt.
Yeah, we don't have many telehandlers.
Exactly, right? So driving that around. So like with us, when we come in on the landscape side of things, we, normally people have their fences up with the gates. So now everyone's gates, before everyone used to have these 4-foot gates. Now they're like 33 inches, 34
That's
inches.
crazy.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So to access someone's backyard, you need the equipment to do that, right? So now we're buying smaller and smaller
Of
things.
course.
Like I never thought I would have a machine that can shrink down and drive through a standard door.
That's right.
You know what I mean? To get the job done. And it's nice that stuff's out there because I remember when I first started and doing that stuff by hand when you didn't have the access to get equipment back there, it sucked.
Of course.
Right? It sucked. But it's cool to see how, the equipment's evolving when it comes to the access now. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Especially down in the Toronto area. Like,
Yeah.
it's crazy.
That'd be brutal. So, and that's the thing too, is like, because you don't just do new build, right?
No.
Like you venture into new build. I know you do some commercial stuff, but also existing residences. And that's where you're dealing with these fences that are already up and 33-inch gates and all that shit.
Unreal.
Yeah,
Unreal.
that's crazy.
Like, and sometimes, AC units,
That's right.
your
I never
gas
thought about
meters,
that.
all that stuff, right? So trying to maneuver in between all that, you can't just send any type of equipment in there
That's
to
right.
do it, right? And then we want to avoid that hassle too of always asking the customer if they can, hey, during construction, let's get the AC moved out of here. You know what I mean? Try to, it just helps us in the sense where, we don't have to give them that hassle. I don't have to worry about my guys squeezing in between two gas meters and hitting something and damaging something, right? It just gives us that bit of wiggle room, right?
No, it's good. And that's the thing too, is I feel like every single year there's some sort of new equipment that benefits us in the trades, whether it's plumbers, electricians, excavation, masons. There's always new innovative products coming out. And I know you were at the Canadian Concrete Expo with us, and I know we've seen a lot of cool shit there.
Yeah. Yeah, even for you guys with that like exoskeleton and all that stuff, you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's cool to see how, they're trying to use the technology to assist us in making our jobs easier.
Yeah.
Which is nice to see because hopefully it shows people that are thinking about getting into the trade or thinking about getting into the excavation or whatnot, that, it's not as hard as it used to be.
That's right.
There's, that, for example, with the masonry trade, there's that exoskeleton that can help you out in lifting things and, working above your head. In the landscape, these, they're like, I call them like a big suction cup.
Yeah, they're Grabo tools. I think Grabo is the brand.
I think so. I'm not 100% sure, but yeah,
I've seen them.
2-man ones where you can pick up the stone and you're not bending down and working on your hands and knees
Yeah,
like
and
we
using
used
your
to,
bare
right?
hands to pick up these stones or whatever it is.
Some of them, dude, like unreal. Even so.
Well, you deal with similar products as we do.
Yeah.
Your surface area is on the ground. Our surface area is the walls.
Yeah. Like
So,
you
same
know,
shit.
when you got a 6-foot, step, right? Which I would compare it to maybe one of your, crazy sills on a custom home.
That's right. Or like a huge precast coping piece.
Yeah, trying to lift that up and put it in place is a pain in the butt. We're trying to lift it, because we can't bring our machine all the way in to put that step down because the interlock pad's laid.
Yeah.
So now we're trying to take it out of a wheelbarrow and bring it down. Well, now we can put an attachment on our excavator that can just pick it up with the suction and swing it right over, and then just easily put it right into place, set it down.
It's perfect.
Oh yeah, unbelievable. I remember the days of struggling, dude.
Of course, and I think a lot of people do. Like
it's unreal.
And we have it lucky.
Yeah.
Think about the people in the early 1900s and, the early times of construction.
Dude, that shit blows my mind.
Absolutely.
When I see it.
Especially when you go to like these old cathedrals and these old towns with so much history and these structures that were put up, and you just think about it like, holy shit, like there was no scaffold, there was no mobile cranes or telehandlers. Like It was nuts. I just seen a video of like the first excavator like created. I don't even know if they called it an excavator. I don't know. Have you seen that?
You know what? I'm not.
It was crazy.
100% sure.
It was all just cables and
I've seen somewhere like now
very simple engineering.
in the excavator. You got your 2 joysticks.
Yeah.
You got your 2 joysticks, and you got your foot controls down below, which will so for your feet, and it comes up with 2 sticks that you can use your hands, but
to crawl. Yeah.
Yeah. So you got they'll control your tracks, and then the joysticks will control your boom and your swing. Mm-hmm. I've seen some where old excavators had 1 lever for every hydraulic. So you had one to bring your arm in, you had another one to bring your arm up and down, another one for your bucket, another for your swing. So I'm like, how these guys do it? We're like, it flowed.
It's like they're
you know what I mean?
Piano there with joysticks.
Like it flowed. And I know Case still has the 4-stick. Where,
that's crazy.
You'll see guys sitting there with their 2 hands and they're holding 2 joysticks, and they're just, and watching them work blows my mind, because I run Cat controlled equipment.
I was just going to say Cat or John Deere.
I run Cat. It's what I learned on. To me, it makes the most sense.
Yeah.
I pull my joysticks in, everything comes in.
That's right.
I push out, everything goes out.
Yeah.
John Deere to me is just ass backwards.
Well, they want to see how people can really use their brain, I guess.
It's to me, it's crazy, and there's always that. Right now, actually, in the business, I'm the only one who runs the Cat controls.
Really?
All my other guys run John Deere. They prefer Deere.
Can you? But is there a switch in these machines where you can switch it?
So the newer ones, yeah. So like even my little guy, we can switch it from Cat to John Deere, which is awesome, because there's times where I'll hop in a machine and see it's John Deere, and I can't switch. So then I'm sitting there, and I can
where
run
you
it.
Use the left side of your brain or use the right side of your brain.
Oh man, I can run it, but I'll tell you right now, it is slow.
Yeah.
Right? It's slow. And
of course,
you cannot distract me.
That's like you trying to you're right hand dominant. You write with your right hand. Now all of a sudden somebody's telling you no, you can't. You got to use your left hand.
100%. And then so you got those, and now you throw yourself into a backhoe that's got 4 sticks.
Yeah.
It completely throws everything else out the window.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's it's nice that the new stuff now you can switch between the Cat and John Deere. A lot more companies are now just going with those 2 controls, trying to streamline things to make it a lot easier.
Of course.
Right? Not having to buy, one piece of equipment to suit one operator and then another piece to suit another operator.
And I bet that's easier on the rental companies who are purchasing all these units too.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
What do you think about Kubota?
I like them. We actually, we were debating on picking up a Kubota skid steer. We ended up going with a Bobcat just because we got a good deal on it.
Like brand new from dealer?
Brand new from dealer. But we were really looking at the Kubota. I like their price points. I like, how they don't go all fancy with the interior like, a Cat or a John Deere. You know what I mean? Yeah, and it's just, to me, they're strong machines. And that's what you need in this business. Mm-hmm.
We want something that's not going to break down, that's not going to cost you a shit ton of money on service and maintenance.
That's exactly
all that
it.
Bullshit. Because I know how it is. Obviously, an excavator is very different from a telehandler. But at the end of the day, engine, hydraulic pump, hydraulics, joysticks, all the same shit.
Yeah.
So that's why when we made our purchase of the Merlot from Manulift, which we're super excited to get that machine end of March. But the reason why we did decide to go with the Merlot was because of how easy it is to service and how much more labor time is cut on servicing this unit. So that's why we did that. And that was something that I never really thought about looking into until you start buying more machinery and you figure out at the end of the year what's your cost on labor for your mechanic on servicing the machine.
Man,
So
we learned our lesson the hard way.
I was gonna say I know some stories too.
So
I'll let you share that with the viewers.
when I was operating, when I was going through it all, Cat was like, wow. Anytime I got in a Cat machine, I was like, this is
Bugatti.
great. This is amazing. To me, it's the Ferrari of all machines.
Yeah.
And I always said, when I get my own thing going, Cat's the only thing I'm buying.
Yeah.
So first machine we bought was 2014 Cat D4. We bought it used, and that machine it's been great.
Mm-hmm. And that's a dozer.
Great. Yeah.
For some people who don't know what a
bulldozer.
D4 is. Yeah.
Great machine.
Mm-hmm.
It's hasn't really give us any problems. We've had to put a little bit of money into the tracks, the rollers and the idlers, the undercarriage there. And that at that point, that's when my eyes started to open a little bit. I love the Cat machines. I hate the price of the Cat parts.
I can imagine.
I hate it. It's we call it the Cat tax.
Yeah.
Right.
That's hilarious.
And
that's awesome.
And it's super expensive.
Yeah.
So we got 3 pieces of Cat equipment. We got a Cat skid steer. We got our Cat D4 dozer.
Nice.
And then we got our Big Bertha, which is our Cat D6 dozer.
Yeah.
We got those 3 pieces, and we were just looking at the maintenance costs and buying parts for it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not even getting it serviced at Cat, just the parts.
Parts alone.
It was super expensive. So then I was like, you know what? I got to throw out that mentality of this is what I want because I like it.
Mm-hmm.
I got to start going with what's feasible for us.
That's right.
The price of the machine, the serviceability of it, the price of the parts, you know what I mean? Right. And, so, we started doing more shopping, and seeing what was out there, and we decided to try Bobcat. So we bought our brand new Bobcat skid steer, and then we bought the Bobcat E10. Main reason with the Bobcat E10 is Bobcat's the only one that's got a excavator designed that way. So Kubota has a small little excavator like that, and Cat and all those guys do. But what I don't like is they have the joysticks in between your legs.
Oh, weird.
So you're running like a backhoe style.
Yeah, yeah.
Where Bobcat has it where you're sitting like you would in a normal
like a large
excavator.
excavator, yeah.
And it just gives you that comfort. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I feel I'm more comfortable that way. When I'm running the 2-stick, I feel I'm hunched over all day.
Yeah.
So that was the main reason with the Bobcat E10 for that purchase. But with the skid steer, we talked to a few people, and Bobcat came highly recommended when it came to the service. And
I feel like they are leaders in the skid steer game.
Because even if you see a Cat skid steer, John Deere skid steer, Kubota, whatever, a lot of people who don't really know, equipment,
they call them Bobcats.
They call it Bobcat, right?
That's how I would call them.
Yeah,
I didn't even know what a skid steer was.
It's all Bobcat.
I thought it was a Bobcat.
I mean? It's like a Kleenex. Kleenex is just
the brand.
It's a brand, right?
That's hilarious.
It's not actually what we call it. You know what I mean?
Too funny.
But kudos to Bobcat for sealing that with that type of machine, because
of course.
It's good branding for them, right?
Of course.
But so we're gonna try it out. So far, knock on wood, it's been good to us, and
good.
Yeah, so we're to me now, I don't have a brand preference for equipment.
As long as it works, as long as it's not going to be breaking down all the time, costing you a shit ton of money, then that's it.
Like,
you're going to invest in it, because that's every piece of machinery is an investment, regardless.
100%.
And as long as it's not breaking down, then you're making money, you're happy, and obviously, your client's happy, and across the board too. Like if you're investing in good equipment, it just makes you look better too.
Yeah.
Your clients are not going to see you with some broken down, rusted piece of shit, blowing hydraulic fuel everywhere or hydraulic oil everywhere, leaking diesel. You want something that's obviously going to, make your name look good, because at the end of the day, they don't want to see Bremner Construction say, wow, that's the guy who has all the rusty shit. Or, hey, that's Bremner Construction. Like that guy has really nice equipment. Very presentable. So,
and with us too, in the residential side of things, we had, our cat skid steer had a fuel delivery problem. And we were on a job in a high-end neighborhood, and out of nowhere, it started smoking.
Oh no.
And it was still moving, so I'm like, okay, let's just keep going.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Let's just keep going.
Get the job
gotta
done.
get the job done. Yeah, exactly, right? And if it's moving and I don't have to pay to have a service guy come out at that time, and I can finish the job, wrap it up, and send it to my yard, it'll cost me less to get someone to go to my yard and check it out than it would to come all the way to our job site. So it was smoking quite a bit, to the point where we actually had someone come out and say, hey, it's starting to smell inside my house. You know what I mean? Like,
oh no.
Can you guys shut it down?
Yeah.
So, I apologized, whatnot, and we shut the machine down.
You didn't play stupid? Like,
Smoking. I'll tell you right
What?
now, there was no playing stupid. There was no playing stupid. There was no hiding.
Barbecue. We're barbecuing.
No hiding from that one. So, we had to shut it down, and at that moment, it was kind of embarrassing and a bit disappointing, because I know shit happens.
Of course.
You know what I mean? You're going to buy something that's going to fucking break.
Anything mechanical. Anything mechanical. Cars, machines, doesn't matter. Anything could happen.
It's, having something like that happen where a customer, hey, we're trying to get something done. That was a little embarrassing, but then it's disappointing in the fact that we all rely on that machine to get a job done. Now I got to go to the guys and say, hey guys, I'm sorry, but we got to keep pushing forward till the mechanic fixes it, and use wheelbarrows. And we got to go old school, you know, grab some shovels, grab some wheelbarrows. Let's start building some character.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right. Start putting, some callus on our hands and get things going.
Yeah.
Right.
Because you don't want to start expressing delays to the client or anything like that.
That's exactly it. Right. So, at that point, it was like, okay, it's time to invest in something new that we can rely on and not have these moments, right?
Well, you got to start somewhere too, right?
That's exactly it, right?
You didn't win the lottery before you started Bremner, did you?
No,
that's something I don't know.
No,
but
I was kind of hoping mom and dad would sit down with us and tell us they were hiding all this money.
You didn't get a small loan of $1 million from your dad, did you? Or?
No, not ours.
Because I didn't get that loan either.
No, not ours.
So
no, maybe we should sit down with him, right? See what he's hiding.
We'll bring him on the next episode, okay? We'll save that for the next episode.
Yeah, that'll be entertaining. That'll be a one to watch.
That would be a good one.
Hey, let's get all the Cabrals.
We'll bring all the Cabral boys on the next
all of us.
episode. That would be good.
Oh God.
No, but yeah, man. I know this year. Was it this year or late last year? You welcomed an estimator into your team in your back office there?
It was early December.
Nice.
We
obviously that means things are picking up, and you can't be doing all these takeoffs and project costs when it comes to all the emails and the fluctuation of all these projects. Just filling up the inbox. Ding, ding.
It was one of those things that you try not to have your pricing and your takes offs and everything take a back seat.
Of course. And I'm sure you deal with deadlines too.
Exactly. And we found it was helping, that was happening quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And I just, you know it as well. When you got a project on the go, well, you got to get in, do that project and get out. So with us, we're still growing. So I'm working out in the field, doing the office stuff, and kind of bouncing around everywhere.
Yeah, you're the project manager, you're operations manager. You're on the tools, you're laboring, you're machine operating.
And I'm guilty and really bad for when I'm out on the field and I'm working and I got my head down, my phone can be ringing.
Yeah.
You know, emails can be coming in and I'm like, I'll deal with it in a sec. I'll deal with it in a sec. Well, by the time I deal with it, it's 5:00.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at my phone going, holy crap, 30 missed calls, 50 emails. Like, now I got to go home and burn the midnight oil and taking care of all that.
Of course. And the thing is, some people want answers right away, not at 5 o'clock.
That's exactly it, right? So, with me, going out there and doing that on the job sites, right?
Yeah.
All my office stuff was kind of taking a shit kicking.
Yep.
So.
No, and I can relate. So.
Yeah, but once again, you can't just go out there and hire everyone right from the get-go.
Nope.
You got to,
Unless you got that small loan of $1 million from your father, then
small loan of $1 million from father, I'd be sitting on a beach drinking some cervezas. But so it got to the point where I said, "Okay, it's time to bring in some office staff." So we brought in our estimator. She's been doing great.
Nice.
Been working quite a bit together because obviously she has to see how Bremner does everything.
Of course, understand the materials, understand the jobs.
Exactly, right? And so, it's been working out. We've been pricing a lot and meeting deadlines.
Good. That's important.
Feedback from the customers have been great on that part.
Service, man. Out in the field
100%.
and behind the scenes, service.
100%, man.
Because that's what we sell to people is service.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Always answer your phone.
Yeah.
Right? Always answer your phone. And so, that's helped out in that sense where if a supplier, if a GC or project manager, whatever, has questions, they can now call her. And, she can give answers right away. If she doesn't know the answer to it, then she'll just say, "Hey, I'll get back to you," and she'll call me.
Yep. Never try to give an answer you don't know the answer to.
Exactly. 100%. 100%.
And I've had that conversation with my estimator as well.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. It's, don't bullshit to the customer.
Nope.
Right?
I'll get back to you with an answer. Give me 5 to 10 minutes. Call you right back.
So, and we're working out still kinks here and there, but things are going along, right? And now we're bringing in, we got another office staff starting when I come back mid-March.
Yeah.
She'll be starting and taking care of all the receipts, bookkeeping, all
nice.
that.
It's
all
important.
That fun stuff.
Yeah.
Right?
It's important.
100%.
Once you have a good team built up on the field, then you need to start developing a team on the back end because obviously you know what your strong suits are and your forte with the business. And the things that you're not good at, you're going to find people who are good at those things and make sure you have them on your side. A part of the grand scheme of things when it comes to your entire team of Bremner.
Yeah.
Because, and even at the end of the day, I know when there is the team that supports a company, you have your team out in the field, you have your back office, and now you also have suppliers that work with you. I consider them a part of your team as well because you deal with a shit ton of material, whether it's your Unilock stones or whether it's Permacon or whether it's A gravel, B gravel, all your different types of
your sod, your plants, all that.
Yeah. So I'm sure you have a nice list of suppliers that you can count on to be able to get your products on sites when needed and whenever you need pricing that you can push over to your estimator to incorporate in jobs. I'm sure you work with some good suppliers out there.
We do. It's, I feel the suppliers we have been great. Mm-hmm. And, it's a huge, when running a business and especially being in construction, it's a huge thing to have suppliers you can rely on.
Of course.
And I feel that we have that. And it's nice that I can just, give them a quick buzz, see if they have it in stock. If they don't, I know if they say, "Hey, I'll call you back," they're calling me back in 15, 20 minutes max with an answer and doing whatever it takes for us to get that product.
Nice.
It's with all that COVID stuff and everything happening, it got a little sketched through there because there was long wait periods, there was not, and you probably experienced it too. We don't have it in stock. We got to check with the,
it was getting it was getting a little nerve wracking. Like,
yeah.
I had to clench my booty cheeks a couple times. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's us. Like, there was times we'd start a project and we'd get to a point where it's like, holy shit, we're short one skid.
yeah.
So we call our supplier.
And then when you want that right away.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
And we call our supplier like, we don't have it in stock. We got to find out.
Yeah, that's when the phones are going off.
Unreal, man. And, actually, prime example was we had a project in Brantford. It was a 6-foot high retaining wall, 40 feet long. And it was a very tight, the property wasn't that big, so we couldn't just order the whole thing of stone.
That's right.
So we had to order in increments. And we got about halfway up the wall. We called and said, hey, can we get another, delivery done? And they said, yeah, no, not a problem, whatever. So we're thinking we're good. We get a call back. Well, the supplier calls us and says there was a huge mistake. They sent my stone to someone else.
Oh, no.
And they were going to see whatever they could to try to make things work.
Yeah,
I said,
yeah.
no problem. I trust you guys. You're good. They called back and they said, I got more bad news.
Oh, no.
Permacon doesn't have it in stock either.
Ooh.
We were looking at about 10 weeks
Ridiculous.
to get
How do you relay
the
that kind
product.
of information to a client?
Man, I'm telling you, dude, I was pacing back and forth wondering, what am I gonna tell these guys?
It's not like you could get an alternative.
No, and we're going like September.
Yeah.
So 10 weeks.
That's
you know
crazy.
what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. By that time, there could be snow on the ground, everything be frozen.
That's
like,
right.
How the hell am I going to get this
Yeah.
done? So I'm like, what the hell are we going to do? So we're having this conversation on the phone, and I'm talking. They knew I was in panic mode,
Yeah.
and they're like, you know what? We're going to make some calls. We'll call you back. The calls they were making is they were calling their competition
Oh.
to see if they had anything in stock. And they ended up calling a few people and getting a couple skids here.
Yeah.
couple
Yeah.
skids
Yeah.
there to
Clearing out the
build,
yards.
to get our delivery completed.
Nice.
And, that's just one of those keynotes when it comes to having that great supplier. Because some suppliers won't call their competition.
Yeah.
They don't give a shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's going to cut into their profits. It's going to cut into, with our suppliers, they care more about maintaining that relationship.
Of course. That's important.
Right. Which, yeah, it's a huge thing with us. I'm always, I'm all about relationships, and
Yep.
as opposed to, if I got to take a little hit here or whatever, but I'm maintaining a good relationship, I'm down for that.
Of course.
Right. So, at the end of the day, they ended up coming in clutch and helping us out. Right.
Nice.
But it does come down to that team and that, relationship with them.
And
right?
your supplies were definitely the heroes of that day.
Oh, dude, I'll tell
That's
you right
awesome.
now, man. It was stressful.
Yeah,
man.
I'm sure it was.
It was stressful.
I've had many of those days.
Oh yeah,
Many, many, many of those days.
Yeah.
But I want to basically come to a close with this show, Justin. I do appreciate you being here with us. But before we end the show, I have 7 questions that I'd like to kind of flow through here with you. So my first question is, what's the most bizarre thing that has ever happened to you on any project? And it doesn't mean even just in business. It could be in general, like with even when you first got into the construction industry up until now. Craziest, most bizarre thing.
honestly, man, being in construction,
And I know there's a lot
of bizarre things happen.
That's why a lot of people sit there and they think, and they're like, well, which one?
I'm
Which
kind of
one?
like, man, what one do you bring up? It wasn't with my business, but this was with a company I worked for, where the homeowner, believe it or not, awarded the job to 2 companies.
How the hell did that happen?
No idea, but we showed up on a project. We started it. It was an interlock driveway. We started ripping the driveway out. And 2 days later, I believe, we were screeding and getting ready to put stone down. And another contractor shows up.
Come on.
I'm like, what are you guys doing here? Oh, they're laying an interlock driveway. What's up, man? He's like, this is my
You guys looking for work?
this is my job.
Yeah.
Right? And we're like, no, this is our job. Like, clearly you can see we're screening, stones here, everything's here. Like, this is our job. If it wasn't the customer, someone would have came out and said something by now.
That's right.
You know what I mean? The guy's just getting frustrated. He's getting pissed. He's got his truck. He's got his dump trailer, skid steer sitting in it. And we're like, what the hell's going on? So we go to the door. We knock on the door. Customer comes out. And we're like, hey, man, like, this guy's saying this is his job. What's going on? Customer flat out said, I awarded it to both. Whoever came out first got it.
Come on. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's absurd.
So
that can be dangerous.
We're like
obviously that causes conflict now.
Exactly, right? Like, we kind of felt bad for that guy because we're like, this guy just booked in, 2 weeks worth of work.
Scheduled his time.
Right? And now what happens?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But at that time, there was no real signature on any contract or whatever to state like this is who gets it.
Yeah.
The company I worked for at that time was a very small outfit. It was kind of like, working for Joe Blow out of his backyard kind of thing.
There was no actual contracts.
No.
Yeah.
And,
estimates were sent. They got a phone call saying, yeah, you got the job, and that was it.
That's
nice
it.
little handshake, nice little smile. See you later.
Done. So it was weird, man. But that was probably, I'd say, top bizarre.
Okay. That's extremely bizarre, and I've never heard of anything like that. So that's definitely at the top of my list now. So if you could have worked alongside any historical figure, dead or alive, okay, who would it be, and what would be the first question that you would ask them? Any historical figure.
You know what? I would have to say there's a guy we used to watch growing up. Dad every Saturday, bro, we would watch him.
Who? Are we talking about Vila?
Yeah, man.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, dude. I would say I would want to,
that was the first man with like a construction show.
Hands down. I would be
Bob Vila.
Yeah, even if it doesn't even have to do with my industry or anything.
Yeah.
Just, hang out with that guy because it like that was someone we watched every Saturday, Dad sitting in his lazy boy.
I know, it all came back just now.
I was sitting on the carpets and watching, Mr. Vila walking around, right?
That's hilarious.
Yeah, I'd have to choose him, man.
That's epic. That's awesome. I love that answer, by the way. Okay, next question. What's a habit or routine you've adopted recently that's made a positive difference in your day-to-day life?
Schedule.
Great answer.
Hands down schedule, man.
Yeah.
Regardless.
Or you're just running around not knowing what to do next.
A mess.
Like, yeah.
But for me, it just comes down to as simple as when to go to bed and when to wake up.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So,
scheduled sleep time.
And it doesn't matter Monday,
times.
and it doesn't matter Monday to Friday. Mine carries into Saturday, Sunday too.
Yeah.
Right? It's one of those things. I'm up 5:30 and even on the weekends, and I'm in bed by 10:30.
Yep.
Right? And to me it's just I always have to maintain that. To the point where now if I'm somewhere and it's a party and I exceed that 10:30, dude, you'll see me yawning and, so that to me is key.
Schedule is so important. And not just in business, like just in life. In general, yeah. Like I said, scheduled sleep time, scheduled, business time. And what's the schedule look like within that, from whatever time you wake up and start work, 7 to let's say 4 p.m. That's a scheduled portion of your day. And then after that, schedule time with your kids, schedule time to read, schedule time to work out. Oh,
100%.
And then it's rinse and repeat every day and you have structure in your life.
Exactly. And that now it's to the point where even if there's nothing going on that day, not a damn thing.
Yeah.
If I feel like, if I wake up at 6:30, God forbid, if I'm not feeling the greatest, whatever, even 7:30, say I sleep in. When I wake up, I feel like, my day's gone.
Yeah.
I just wasted my day.
Yeah.
And it frustrates me because
I'm like
7:30
sleeping in. There's people who sleep until like 12 p.m.
And to me, it blows my mind, but it's like your day's gone.
Yeah.
Right? There's so much you can do, and it's crazy. There's so much you can do within an hour, 2 hours, right?
That's right. Most memorable piece of advice you've ever received?
You know what? There's so much. There's so much. There's, from you know how it is. We're Portuguese and working for all the pork chops, and you're getting yelled at. Hey, every time they yelled at you, you know what? There was advice in that shit.
There was some golden nuggets.
And you took it with you. You may, sometimes I still think about it. I flinch. Like there's something could be thrown at me, right? But most memorable thing is don't give a shit about what others think.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
That's right.
Do you?
That's it.
You know what I mean? Just
because it's you versus you. That's why.
Exactly. No one goes to bed and thinks their last thought isn't about you. Mm-hmm. Their last thought's always about them.
Of course.
Right. So to me, I take that with me, and it helps quite a bit. Right. Like, especially when it puts yourself in situations where you're worried, like, shit, man, what are they gonna think, or what's this customer going to think, or whatever, right? At the end of the day, you got to do what's best for you.
Absolutely.
And just do you.
And you don't want to put up any type of barricade because you're worried about what somebody else thinks.
Hands down.
That's going to, that's fog to the focus that you should have on what you're doing.
Build stress that you don't need.
No, unnecessary. If you could teleport anywhere on this planet right now, where would you go and what would you do?
Oh man, you know what?
There's a lot of places to go.
If I could go anywhere in this world right now and do whatever the hell I want, not work related, I'd be teleporting to any F1 race.
Nice. I know you're super passionate about that.
And just watching the races,
nice.
man.
Go to like Monaco.
Oh, dude. You know what? Monaco, I wouldn't even care. I'd go Bahrain. I'd go Singapore. I'd go you know what I mean? Just
as long as you're watching a race.
Watching the race and just seeing the atmosphere.
Sick.
Like that to me would be
okay.
Right now, snap a finger, take me there.
I'm coming too. So reflecting on your past year, what's your biggest accomplishment? Past year. Don't let this year. Well, if there was something this year, I know this year kind of just broke ground, but
reflecting on our past year, biggest accomplishment was what we did in sales compared to the previous year and how much we've grown. Mm-hmm. To us that's a huge accomplishment. Like we price jobs that I never thought we would be pricing at this point in our business. Nice. Nice. We've accomplished and completed jobs that I didn't think we would at this point. Mm-hmm. Right. To me that was a huge thing. And, I've also taken a lot from that year into this year, and we're going, we are changing a few things on how we run the business because of what we did last year and doing those jobs and seeing the scale that we could, work at.
Yep.
Right. So it was great in the fact that it's now, we're now starting to become more streamlined in the sense that we really know where Bremner Construction wants to be and needs to be.
Good. Some good, powerful goals, I take it.
Oh, 100%. Nice. 100%. We are actually going to be splitting our landscape from the excavation and demolition.
Cool.
So the landscape's going to be its own separate entity and division. And we're going to be, Bremner Construction is just going to be solely focusing on the fill and house demos and house digs.
Nice.
And then that way we can just, Bremner Construction can cater to its customers in that sense. Mm-hmm. Right. And then the landscaping is just going to be, running its own course where it can run the residential and some commercial. And we're going to be bringing in lawn maintenance and snow removal. And we're going to be having a full blown landscape side of
awesome
of things. Yeah.
Definitely a lot more growth to come then.
Yeah, a lot more growth. We're super excited to see, where those paths take us.
Always doors opening, man. Keep an open mind.
That's it, man. That's it.
Nice.
It's opportunities always come up for those who are willing to push themselves and,
hard work pays off.
Exactly. 100%.
Last question. So what we're doing here with this podcast is obviously trying to inspire the younger demographic to understand that trades is not as bad as what they think it is, and try to help inspire the younger demographic to enter this industry. So what are some things that you can share with some young viewers who are tuning in right now to really help them have a better understanding that, you know, there is a life here in the construction industry with the blue collar community that we do have? What are some things that we can do to inspire the younger demographic to jump in?
You know what? Don't be scared. Mm-hmm. It's not, you know, there's the horror stories.
Of course.
Right? There's the horror stories. And you don't even need to hear the stories. You don't even need to hear any of that. Take a young kid, put them on your job site right now, and just let them stand there and watch. Mm-hmm. It looks like hard work. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Just from watching. You don't even have to pick up that brick or grab that shovel, right? But once you get into the rhythm of it, it's actually not hard work. It just becomes you're something you do. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And the younger generation needs to know it's not that scary, right? It's okay to, grab a trowel, grab a shovel, get dirty.
Work with these.
Exactly. It's okay to do that, right?
There's a lot of money to be made. It can be extremely rewarding. That's what I think.
It can be extremely lucrative.
Look at you. Look at me.
At the end of the day,
did you know 100% when you got into the construction industry that you were going to have your own business?
You know what's messed up,
planned?
man? So I had a business before this, and my business partner at that time, we just had two different ideas, so we parted ways. But my business partner at that time always said, he goes, whatever you do and enjoy as a child is what you end up doing as an adult. And I thought about that. I was like, what's this guy talking about? And he used to tell me, he goes, he loved playing with the construction toys, and he loved playing with all that. And that's the direction he took himself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Someone who likes to play with, the stethoscope and all that doctor stuff. Well, majority of the time, that's the path they try to choose. I used to sit in my room. Remember that desk Dad built me?
Yeah.
I used to sit in my room by myself, and it sounds messed up, but I used to draw a yard layout where machines would park.
Yeah.
Where I'd have all my materials.
Yeah.
And I always used to tell myself, when I have my own business, this is what I want to do. You know what I mean?
So you already had the idea.
So I had the idea, and for some reason, I always knew construction was the way I wanted to go. I enjoyed
trades, and obviously mom and dad, dad being a carpenter and mom was running the business, and it was it's not like it was pushed on us. It was, it was there, like we were watching it, and we knew that our oldest brother got involved in it as well, and we knew a lot of people in the trade, so it was inevitable. That's the direction we were headed.
Dad did it with the carpentry. Dad ended up shutting it down because obviously he had a family. He took a lot of time away from home.
Yep.
And he got a job working at a factory, but still being the carpenter.
Yep.
Right? I remember Dad shitting on us and being so pissed that we weren't doing good in school. Mm-hmm. We were failures, right? Or they felt like they were failing us. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Dad was that hard worker. 7 days a week.
Yeah.
12-hour days. Yeah. I remember fucking camping, Dad dropping off the trailer.
Yeah.
And taking off because he had to work for the weekend.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we're at a campground, right? And I think he didn't want that for us because it's frowned upon. You know what I mean? Go to school, get good grades, go to university, get a good job, right? Dad knew I was obsessed with cars, and it was the engineering route. Be an engineer for Ferrari, or do good in school so you can be an engineer and do this and that. I remember growing up, you draw cars. Be a car designer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Remember that, right?
Yeah.
You're gonna be a car designer. So those white collar bougie jobs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think when, the they pretty much seen it in high school. We ain't going that route. You know what I mean? They knew, oh, fuck.
We gotta get some tools in these boys' hands.
Fuck this shit. You know what I mean? Game over, right? Yeah. And it became the, it's seeing us going that blue collar route, whatever. It was like they failed or, but there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now mom and dad are always ask, are you busy? How's business? How things going? You can see that they're proud of the sense that
that's right.
What we're accomplishing with, I don't want to say with the little education we have, we got our grade 12, you know what I mean? We spent that time in the field and gained that knowledge, right? Mm-hmm. We didn't exactly go to trade school, but we have that experience is somewhat grandfathered in.
That's right.
And I can see now that they see we're happy, so it makes them happy. You know what I mean? And
at the end of the day, they see that it's supporting our families. They see we have houses that we own and vehicles that we own and drive, and we still get to do things and travel and enjoy the time away with our families 100%. And stuff like that. So that there is that sense of happiness for us that comes from them, and they're definitely proud of what we've been up to. So at the 100%. End of the day, long story short, is that the trades are very rewarding. Whether you're just an employee, you can become a journey person in any trade. It doesn't matter, electrician, HVAC, masonry, whichever route you take, you could be making well over $100K a year, living a very, very, very good lifestyle. Yep. And then you could take it to the next level and start your own business. So, you know what I mean? That's what happened with us. And I know it can happen with a lot more younger kids who are out there not really sure of where they're going to go and what path they're going to take. So,
and it's okay to not know that, because I didn't.
Yeah, neither did I. I didn't know I was going to have a business. I didn't know I was going to be doing a podcast. I didn't know I was going to be doing any of this.
I moved around to so many jobs.
The door's open. The door's open. The door's open.
And I moved around to so many jobs because I didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know what the hell I wanted to do in life. You know what I mean? There was times where I even questioned, do I want to be in this?
Of course. And you know what's funny, which I want everyone to understand too, all the viewers, especially the younger demographic listening and not quite sure as to where they're going to go, is even Justin, you started in masonry.
Yeah.
Then you went to, what did you go to after? It was landscape?
I did masonry. Then I went into landscaping.
That's right.
Then from landscaping, I went asphalt.
That's right. So that's the thing, get in the trades and then figure out what trade is best for you that you're most passionate about. Stick with it, work your ass off, allow those doors to open, opportunities will just flood in, and that's it.
Listen, nothing comes to those who sit down on their ass and don't work for it.
No.
You know what I mean?
That's right. Kudos. That's how we end the show. Don't be lazy. Get the fuck to work. Thank you.
All right. Thank you,
brother.
man.